maisha ni ya ghetto, msaliti ni petro, sheria mna kwao, wazimu pia na hao, furaha sio mfano, ukabila ndio kwao, hapo shafika, ukweli na hakika, kadiri inashika, furaha kwa lahiki, kwenda kwa mashabiki, raji kuziki, beef na fiki, hit na dhiki, muda mna wiki, mimi na himziki, split ni mukiki, kutafuta ziki, kwa makini mfulisi, ya mchima la sili, feel me. Don't you know, we're talking about a revolution song. Don't you know?
I'm not really worried about convincing you about what I believe in. My main concern is to find people with the like-minded minds, like Minister, the realist temple, the reality's temple on earth. I can relate with that guy. I can say he's talking sense because he has intelligence. And he doesn't come up with rubbish. He comes up with well-thought conversations. He's thought about this. He's still thinking about it right now as we speak about it. And after that, he'll be thinking about it because he's a thinker. He's not just a doer taking information and repeating it. He's a thinker. He's been intrigued. His mind's been intrigued by reality, by things on earth that have woken him up. So enough respect to him. One of the greatest minds on YouTube who ain't got no establishment. I don't know what he has or what he does, but the greatest minds sometimes don't have much, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't have much. I barely just got this in my head and a few things, no responsibilities though. So it's just about communicating this video. It's tricky. The minds of others have been living a way which is backwards or wrong from they could walk. And they got good at being backwards and wrong and believing that backwards and wrongness. So when you talk about rightfulness and forwardness, they think it is nonsense because they've never worked on those lines. So yeah, that came out alright. Usually it depends with communicating. It's a battle, so either you win and you do it well and it comes out perfect, or it's like you're just clashing with swords and you're not really getting what's in your head out to the world to understand. But where's that drink? Big up to the ministry, the minister, whatever his name is, Angel Nut 7. Yeah, I really enjoyed your videos, man. They're a bit long though.
Things that make you go, you know, these aren't jokes, these are thoughts, these are things that make you say,
this may seem terrible, but my God, I didn't know you were black.
Can I get an amen from the choir? Well, can I get a amen from the choir? Well, can I get a hallelujah from the choir? Yeah, well, wow, we're going to get religious. In these next few minutes, we're going to get religious just for a few minutes. I am the mighty one, Angel Snubbed Up 7, and this is the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry with another rap video. Man, woo! Keep the preaching. What you gonna preach about today? We're gonna keep preaching about this pathetic creature, this silly creature, this cowardly creature, this sissified creature. What creature are you talking about, brother? I'm talking about the black male, black woman basher. Oh, wow, you're just letting the women off. I'm not letting nobody off the hook. But since you have so much to say, then let's talk about what you're saying. The black male, black woman basher. These are some dark Europeans that you will never please, no matter what you do. They are in modern times on social media, but some of them have always been around at some period in the time, the lifespan of the so-called Negro in America. You can't please a black male, black woman basher. At one time, now, of course, as you know, the black male, black woman basher, they have this obsession with women's weaves. Countless videos, countless comments about women's weaves. That black women should have natural hair. Look at these weaves. Wear your natural hair. Natural hair. Well, let's go back a little bit in time. When I was growing up, now weaves, extensions, been around for a long time. It just so happened that right now, weaves is the in thing. That's a woman thing. I could care less. Wear your weave, don't wear your weave. Really, I could care less. We have bigger fish to fry. Not interested in a woman's fashion. But these black male, black women bashers, they are so obsessed with weave. Next thing you know, they be telling women what kind of tampons they should wear. That's how pathetic these trashy dudes are. Let's go back in time. When I was growing up, it wasn't weaves. It was something that women could not control. They had no control over at all. Many sisters, of course you know, back in the day, 60s and 70s, the afro was the big thing. The Jackson 5 made the, you know, when you saw the Jackson 5, you saw big afros. Everybody, a lot of folks was wearing afro. But there were many descendants of slaves born in America, our females, they could not grow that kind of hair. So they were bald. And then the black male, black women oops, I started to call them bitches, I'm sorry. They are. But the black male, black woman bashers, I wanted to say bashers, they were calling black women bald head bitches because they couldn't grow hair. But it's their natural hair. Right? I can't grow hair, but the little hair I do have, it's natural. I wear a little afro or whatever. It was natural. Okay. You know, so as time goes on now, there were sisters like Toni Braxton who wore a short haircut, and there was a duo called Jeanne, some sisters, who wore their hair just like mine. They made short hair popular, and for a long time, the sisters, a lot of them, they found pride in having short hair. So the black woman male bashers, they could no longer talk about that anymore, because now a sister that didn't have that could not grow a lot of hair, that style was popular. So now remember, she's the bald head bitch. Now you come up to this point in time because women still know, women think or believe that men like a lot of long hair and whatever, and I think sisters like long hair in general anyway, with or without trying to attract a man. And so now the extensions have come into popularity. And now, wear your natural hair. Well. See, y'all silly old dudes. When the sisters had short hair and wore their hair natural, you called them a bald-head bitch. And now the sisters, in the belief, and like I say, I'm pretty sure a lot of sisters like long hair. They wear the extensions. If that ain't natural, hood rat weaves. You cannot please these type of fools who should be minding their own business, because there are many things that so-called black men are involved. Like your video games. And Negroes spend all this money on a car. The car, 1975, the car is only worth $800, and you put $3,000, $5,000 worth of adornments on this old car. I don't know if it increased in value or not. I don't know. But the same way you believe women waste their money, you waste yours too. And let's not talk about the drugs that you buy, and the liquor that you buy, and the weed, and we can go on and on and on. Now, the point that I really want to make, besides the hypocrisy, because you can't please these fools, is that they have no problem with attacking women. But when a man step up to them, I step to them all the time. You have so much to say. The natural hair and the weaves and all this other stuff. And you want to talk to women like you crazy. But when a man steps up in your face, and see, this is the way it is with punks and cowards. There are many men who have no problem, and I heard that dude, what's his name, Tommy Sotomayor, talk about how he would beat up a black woman, a black hole, however he says it. But if you notice about Tommy Sotomayor, when the men step up to him, I ain't scared, well, come and do it. He don't talk all that about, I'll meet you so-and-so, we'll fight it out. He never steps up to the plate and tells another man, I'll kick your ass the same way that he talks and speaks about women. What does this tell you about somebody like him? And thousands of you grovel and you foam at the mouth. He's sure right. He's sure right. Hitler was right on many things. Many evil and wicked people are right on certain issues and things. But when it's all said and done, the overall, when you look at these people overall, they were wrong. So I don't care how much of what Tommy Sotomayor might say right. He is ignorant as far as the cause of the condition of descendants of slaves born in America. He is ignorant of the cause. He is ignorant of the solution. The only thing he can do is put himself in a position in order to exploit and make money and make a career off of the degradation of the very people that he was born from. And the reason why he does it, and like many of these other suckers do it, is because of some type of hurt and trauma that some individual dark-skinned woman caused them. So now they have this hatred. Well, you can hate. But a man step up in your face while you start shaking and shivering, while your voice start going down a few octaves. I can prove, and I will debate you, and I will show you that everything that you say, well, not everything, because like I said, you have some things that you're correct. However, when you begin to exploit and you want to abuse people, make mockery. And the thing about all of this is, it hasn't changed nothing. Black males have been bashing black women on social media going on 10 years. The women still wear weaves. Their babies still have different fathers. And all this stuff that you're talking about don't mean nothing. And you won't step to these people that you're talking about in person and talk all this crap in their face because you're a coward. There is nothing that I say on social media that I would not say in your face, because I will not come to you in a disrespectful, uncivil manner. I'll speak to you like you are a human being deserving respect. I'm just going to offer to you my opinion. But some of y'all are so nasty and vile and arrogant. And that's why you hide behind a computer, because you know in person somebody will kick your damn ass. And that's just the bottom line. You're a bunch of cowards. And that's the way it is with men who beat up women. The majority of the time, the men that will beat up on a woman, if you notice, they will not fight a man. Not even a small, weak man. They won't even challenge. They just some pitiful, pathetic. And that's the way it is. Tommy Sotomayor and his crew, these are the type of men that I'm speaking of. Pathetic losers. Because it's easier to jump on a woman than turn your attention to the pink racists who created the whole situation, who is at the root cause, who is the influence, who gives their approval on what you call ratchet behavior. You'd rather attack the victim rather than the one, the perpetrator that caused it all. How pathetic and sorrowful. I really don't even like talking about them. But I wanted to get this off my chest to show you their hypocrisy. Until next time, y'all, in parting, I wish you love, peace, and soul. Those who dislike much of what I say when it comes to nation building and going back to Africa and all these things we enjoy and love. And speaking of this Africa, going back to Africa thing or whatever, there are many who are obsessed with going back to Africa. I cannot say I'm interested in going back to Africa because I've never been there, not even on vacation. My parents and grandparents and great-grandparents and all through my family line have never spoken of this Africa thing. In fact, by study of the faces of my relatives, many of my relatives, they look more like Geronimo, the so-called Native American, the Indian of this nation, more so than African. I myself might look a little African. My father, we might look African, whatever that might be. But I have many relatives that their facial features look more like the old pictures of Native Americans more so than Africans. So that's up in the air. However, if any African nation wishes to give us a big block of land, whereas dark-skinned people, the descendants of slaves born in America, we could come together in a civil, competent, peaceful, loving manner, sit down and create a government where all of us are invited, all the different varieties of our mentalities, we can come together and create a nation that will be fine and dandy. However, that is not the case. I have heard of no African nation. There are over 50 I believe the Republic of Congo is probably the largest. They could easily give a large mass of land to the descendants of slaves born in America, having dark skin, if we were really serious in nation building. All these people who want to go back to Africa, go to Africa. All these people that talk about nation building. If you notice their activity, their actions and their behaviors, all they do is talk. None of them are making any plans to go back to Africa, nation build in Africa. They're not doing that at all. Period. So what does that tell you? It's a bunch of talkers. You're not going to do anything except sit and retire on the cracker job that you have, and you even going to die in America. You don't even have plans to send your ashes or your dead body to Africa. Y'all a bunch of bull. If I was so obsessed with Africa, at least in the end, my last wish, send my remains to Mother Africa. Your remains are going to remain right here where you are right now. We need to really stop being so dang fake. Y'all a bunch of fakers. You're not going to do anything. Because if you was going to do something, you would be doing it or have done it, did it by now. Bunch of talk. But the point I want to make that really makes me, that makes me say, But the topic that I chosen for these few minutes that originally made me want to say, things that make you say, I borrow that from Arsenio Hall. I don't never plagiarize nobody. I always give credit where credit is due. If it comes from Caucasian people, they get the credit. If it comes from the Bible, it gets the credit. If it comes from the Quran, it gets the credit. If it comes from Abbott and Costello, they get the credit. Wherever I get anything from, they get the credit. I have no problem with that. So, things that make you say, comes from Arsenio Hall show. The mighty Angus Snub 7. That comes from Don Cornelius Soul Train when he used to introduce the guests. The mighty Jackson 5. The mighty OJs. You know, the most powerful voice on YouTube. That comes from the back of the, believe it's the Message to the Black Man, where I forgot who was saying this, but they called Elijah Muhammad the most powerful black man in America. So that's why everything, I have no problem with giving credit where credit is due. Now, let's get back to what makes me say, about this issue. What makes me say, about this issue is y'all want to go back to Africa, build a nation in Africa. But at the same time, countless, not one or two, countless Africans born on that continent are risking their lives to come to America. Many of them have been successful, as you know. So the reality is, or the question that should be raised is, if Africa is so beautiful. Now, mind you, I do not believe the picture of Africa as the racists paint Africa. I'm pretty sure there are many beautiful places in Africa. There are many nations in Africa that are doing well. I understand that. That's not, beautiful place. I'm very sure. From the pictures I've seen, never been there. However, if Africa is so great, if Africa is so wonderful, if Africans see themselves as brothers and sisters, and you do have nations in Africa doing well, why are Africans risking their lives going to Europe? And why are they coming here to America? Why aren't they migrating from this place on the continent to another better place? Why isn't that happening? Why isn't other African nations embracing those who are caught up in dire circumstance? You want to go to Africa? Of course, they would embrace you as an American Negro because you would bring the American dollar to the continent. But that still does not mean they like you for your money and what you can do for the economy of wherever you decide you want to go in Africa. But this does not mean they respect you and love you simply because you're melanated. I never hear African people talk about black power. I never hear melanated people talk about melanated black skin, black power. I'm melanated. And who is more melanated than they are? They don't care nothing about that stuff. They don't care nothing about black power. They don't care nothing about I'm melanated. I never hear these African people talk about that. They might talk about Jesus. Or some of them might talk about the Quran. When is the Pope coming to Angola again? Things of that nature. Many of them are just as Europeanized as you and me are. Maybe worse. And they are on the continent, never left the continent of Africa. So please help me with this question, this mindset, this mentality. I really would like to understand, and I would really like to know, you want to try to go to Africa, nation building Africa, yet and still those born on the continent trying to go elsewhere. Why don't they just migrate? I mean, Africa, the continent is very, very large. Why can't they go from a bad part or a part that's having problems and just simply migrate, just like here in America? Jim Crow was very, very terrible to the Negro in the South. So many of them packed up their bags and started to move north or go west or maybe east. As long as they got out of the South, they are still in the United States of America. They are still United States citizens. They just decided to leave a part that was very oppressive. Not to say, I mean, of course, as you know, for dark-skinned people in this country, whether you go north, east, west, south, it doesn't make any difference. You are discriminated against and oppressed. But clearly, the South, there was no doubt, the South was very oppressive. So our people, including my relatives, many of them packed their bags and got the heck out of the South. So if I am an African, born in Africa, and many of you African Americans, y'all saying that Africa is so great, why aren't these people moving from wherever they are having problems to a better place? Maybe also because the other Africans don't want them, and they have brought soldiers and put them on their borders to keep them out. So here you are talking about brotherhood and sisterhood and all this kind of stuff, and you have Africans who don't want Africans in their country. So they seek asylum elsewhere. Amazing. And it also brings to the forefront our delusional thinking process of how we look at the African continent and our condition in general. We think that we can just run away from our problem. I don't have to deal with it. I just run to Africa. That's not how things work. We must learn to face whatever we have to face and deal with it like men and women. Running away is the coward way. A coward dies 1,000 deaths. A brave man dies only once. And even his enemy, if that enemy has any kind of honor, will honor the man or the woman who dies brave on the battlefield. So jump down your comments. Let's talk about it. Bring me some understanding, because clearly, y'all, I don't understand. Until next time, as Don Cornelius always are we on the air? Should be. I'm going to go ahead. I am going to go ahead and start talking, whether it's recording or not. This is a rant video. I feel like making a couple of rant videos just to get this off my chest, just to raise some questions. This is the Realities Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. I am that mighty one, Angel Snuffing Up 7. Very rare that I make short videos. The minimum I usually do is 15 minutes. This one is a bit unusual, but I really don't have a lot to say. I just want to get this off my chest, bring this to your attention. Things that make you say, I wonder. Let me start off by saying this. As many of you know, I don't really like black men that much. What? Yes. Is there something wrong with that? I am not a fan of so-called black men. And I'm glad that you call yourselves black and do not call yourself as a male member of the people of soul, because your behavior and what you would be doing right now will be much different. But being a black person, and since black comes from of a racist construct, then I understand really your behavior. And don't call me a black man. I'm not a black man. I'm not interested in that race garbage. I don't care nothing about your melanin and all this stuff that divides the human reality, the human family, these people of whom depend on one another. And when something happens, all of us are affected. No matter who created it, no matter who invented it, no matter what happens, all are affected. But we get and we have become trapped in this racial pot of garbage. And it's detrimental to all people, whether they are man or mankind. It's detrimental to all of us. We don't have to have this mentality. Racism that was created by the Caucasian people, unfortunately, has become the greatest sickness. It probably has caused the murder of more people than any earthquake, volcano, any natural disaster or disease on this planet. That's sad. This is something we should be able to eliminate, something that we should be able to control. But there are many who benefit from this disease, who benefit from this mentality. And since they do, and they are in positions of influence and power, they do not want racism, although they might talk about it, but they don't want to be about it. They do not want racism to end no time soon, because they enjoy, especially if they are in the family or the so-called race of those who are in a superior position on the planet. So of course they don't want that to change. They like feeling superior. That's why And see, you have the descendants of slaves born in America having dark skin. You have gotten this same type of mentality where you talk about how superior having the melanin is and how black is this and black is that. You sound just like them because in reality, you have become just like them. But you are a racist wannabe. You're not in a position to affect other people with your racist mentality. You are a racist wannabe. And that's sad. You want to be the child of a racist. That's very sad. But you're thinking that you're doing something other, and you're not. And you quoting from history, and you talking about the ancient people never acted, or there's no writings that is similar to the things that you're talking about. I've never heard no Egyptians talk about how superior they were to other people, whatever. They were just a nation that was striving to live and survive. They were not perfect because in order to become a great nation, and as your nation begins to grow, you need resources. And then you have corrupt leadership that want the people to praise them. I'm the pharaoh, I'm the king, and erect this statue to me. The same thing goes on right now. Pictures of Obama all over in these people's houses, and statues of George Washington and Martin Luther King. Y'all still into the same old crap, worshiping people. Ain't nobody work. There's nothing wrong with honoring and respecting people. But when we worship them, and y'all religious people, you are even taught that your God said not to put no idols before me. Worship no idols. But there you have. You go and you praise Dr. King. You got this big stone statue of Dr. King and George Washington and all these other people and pictures and idols all over your house. The problem with that is that you take away from yourself. You take away from yourself so you don't see yourself as just as good as Dr. King or George Washington or the Egyptian pyramids, and you think that you're nothing. You have no kind of value. But just the fact that you and I are alive gives us all the value that we need, all the importance that you need. You don't need me to tell you that you're great. You don't need your mother or your father or Barack Obama or some great entertainer to tell you that you're great. You are great because you made it here. Out of all those sperm that was injected into your mother's womb, out of all the thousands that was there, you made it to come into this life while many others perished. And you don't think that's great. What makes you not believe that you're great is because once you get here, you don't know how to. And there are forces in this reality that hinder you from continuing to progress as the human being that we all are. That's the problem. This is why racism is sick, because it's hindering the potential of human beings that could be good for all of us on this planet to survive. And without that imagination, that creativity, without that difference, that variety in us, something that may arise that will cause our extinction. So racism only really represents, and I don't care if you benefit, you will benefit now. But in the end, it could cause the extinction of not only those of whom you found inferior, but those who believe they are superior. Nature don't give a damn about what you think that you are. When it brings a problem to us, either you're going to be able to survive or you're not. And it's all about how you're able to adapt and change. Now, how did I get into talking about all that? Anyway, I have about 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Let me say this real quick. I want to bring this to our attention. This is what I want to say. I was looking at a old video DVD that I had made for myself, and there was a newscast, and they were talking about the NBA, and they were saying, this was 2008, I believe. So in 2008, they were saying that the NBA is worth over $3 billion with a B. So you hear all these large contracts, all this money that LeBron James get, and some of these other basketball players, which they are very few, because the majority of the people in the NBA are not getting these high salaries. But it's worth $3 billion. They generate $3 billion a year. See, this is why I have a problem with black men, is because without the black man, you have no NBA. So you have all these suckers that's making all this money, giving you some chump change, and you don't control this. There are many things in this nation that we have no control or influence. But the NBA, maybe even football, some of these sports, without the black face, without the melanated face, without the dark-skinned people involved in it, nobody is interested in participating or watching it. You should be the owner. You should have that $3 billion coming into our pockets, into the black communities all over this nation. This is why I really dislike black men, because they are satisfied with crumbs and a Caucasian woman on their arm. What kind of man are you? They are not. So see, I love black men, but these are not black men. These are not men of soul. These are slaves, because only a slave would allow a sucker who can't play basketball, allow them to make $3 billion off of you, and you get nothing. Your people get nothing. Your community get nothing. Then they have the nerve to talk down on you and throw up their nose. A man would not allow that, because you have too much honor. These black men could easily leave the NBA and start their own national basketball league, and everybody would flock to it with no problem. But they're not men. See, you're not men. I am only attracted to real men. I'm not attracted to a male slave. $3 billion. I had to get this off my chest, because this is ridiculous. It's really, and it shows you how pitiful and pathetic we're not a people. Because if we were a people, then we would have to look out for ourselves. How could you let $3 billion get out of your hands like that? Some suckers that can't even play ball. Jot down your comment, because I know you're just pissed off at this, just like me. Until next time, y'all, love, peace, and soul. Jot down your comments, and let's keep the conversation rolling. And let's do something about it. Peace out. Peace forever and always. I am the mighty one, Angel Snot 7, and this is the reality stipple on earth. You know, I tell you that, see, when you listen to the words that come from this rostrum, I'm never copying what somebody else said. Well, the Quran said this, Elijah Muhammad taught that. The Bible says that is the Quran says the Honorable Elijah Muhammad robot stuff, clones. I don't want to be Elijah Muhammad. I don't want to be a book. I don't want to be none of this stuff. I want to be me. I will listen to the advice coming from Elijah. I will listen to the advice that's written in the Bible and the Quran, but I want to be me. There's a song. I want to be me. I want to be me. All these clones out here. Louis Farrakhan wannabes. They try to wear their hair like Louis Farrakhan and dress like Louis Farrakhan, sound like Louis Farrakhan, and Malcolm X wannabes, and Marcus Garvey wannabes, and Frederick Douglass wannabes, and they just want to be a bee. I don't want to be like that. I want to be, and I want you to come to a place where there is variety, there is difference, there is a process, whereas you can be yourself and think for yourself. You can agree with other folks. You can agree with what's in the Quran and all this other thing, but don't be like them. Be yourself. And when you come here, you can't compare me to nobody else because I'm just being myself. And when I'm gone, that's it. That's what life is. I don't want to be a clone. Don't be somebody's brown-nosing folks. Be a clone. Learn who you are. Be yourself. Now, with that said, I'm pretty sure everybody, because of the title of this video, everybody has their listening. Even the government might send somebody. What's the title of that video? How to overthrow the United States government. Yeah. And I'm going to show you how. And I'm going to make reference to religious texts. Remember the Jesus, this Christ person, this anointed person in your scriptures was oppressed. He came into the world and a government was upon his shoulders. I want to use this as a quick example. Now, there are different ways that you can overthrow a government. In fact, there are different ways you can actually overthrow a world, because that's what the Caucasian people done. They actually overthrew a world. They destroyed the reality of dark-skinned people all over this planet. They destroyed a world, not just a government. They destroyed a world. So many of you have this mindset when we talk about overthrow the government. You're thinking about a military coup, weapons of mass destruction, extreme violence. Now, we all know. And see, I'm G for that. Oh, yeah. I'm G for that, but I know that y'all scary. You're cowardly. And you look at an enemy so strong and powerful, you think that you don't have a chance in the world. So you already have lost before you even began the fight. When I was incarcerated, I was told every day for almost 10 years, you can't beat them. You can't win. You can't even, and you can't get out of the game. You can't win. I didn't listen to them and kept punching, kept fighting in the best manner that I knew. They told me nobody has beat us going on 100 years. But on the 100th year, I guess, this fella stepped up to the plate. And because I would not give up and I had faith in myself, they got there first. And actually, they was lying anyway. There were other people. But I think when I stepped up to the plate and put a whooping on them, that was very devastating. You can't beat them. I beat them with their own law, their own policy. Because I had faith in myself. There was no other place I could get any faith. Islam did not help me. Jesus did not help me. Nobody helped me. In fact, my family could not help me. They did not know how to help. I had to help myself. So, man, how can you overthrow this government? In fact, we should really be looking at overthrowing this world. See, that was the purpose of, that was the purpose of this Christ. I'm not only going to overthrow this government that's wicked, but this entire world. My Father and I are coming to take this world out and bring in a new world. And the former things shall pass away. And see, that's y'all problem. Y'all don't want to get rid of the former things. There is something about, you talk about Caucasian people and you talk about this world, but there are some things in this world that you like. You like the alcohol. You like the whorehouse. You like the weed. You like dancing. Whatever it is in this world, there's something in it that you like. I don't like none of it. None. Absolutely none. I have no problem with the destruction of this world. Period. So you want to know, how can you overthrow the government? It's very difficult to overthrow a government without violence. I'm sorry. I know some of y'all, you don't want to hear that, but it's very difficult. Even the Christ, your Jesus in the Bible, talking about bringing it in a new world. But when you read the Revelations, it's extremely violent. They talk about there will be so much bloodshed that it will rise to the bridle of a horse. You know how tall a horse is? And the blood will be so much bloodshed that it will rise to the bridle of a horse. Oh, wow, come on. But I tell you, that which will kick it off, and that which will put you in a position where in the end you will win, because the wicked, they are not going to just give up and roll over and allow the righteous to move them out the way. Perfect example. The Nation of Islam. I talk about the Nation of Islam a lot. Some of y'all say in the negative, but I did not do that. The Nation of Islam put that negativity on themselves because the Nation of Islam became corrupt. It probably had good intentions when it first started, but it became corrupt. And another problem is religious dogma. And religious dogma does not allow all the people who are oppressed to join in the struggle, because you have to be a certain way within the principles of religion. And everybody back in the day would tell you, I like those Muslims, but I like my Pope. I like them Muslims, but you know, I keep 3 or 4 women. So religion keeps people who wouldn't mind being in the struggle, being in the fight. You keep them off the battlefield. Oh, you're a homosexual, you know, we can't. I want to fight. So what? So what if I'm homosexual? I'll crack a eye out, baby. It's very simple. Righteous behavior will overthrow the government. It's as simple as that. Because the reality is, even many of the wicked, many of the oppressors, many of them are sick of this world. You can't enjoy nothing really. You're surrounded by murder, rape, death. Your air is poison. Your food is poison. Who is really happy? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches when there is 10% dissatisfaction causes 10% change. 100% dissatisfaction causes 100% change. The world is ready for a change. But somebody has to step up to the plate and really be righteous. I'm not talking about going to church. There's a church on every corner, but people are not righteous. What is righteousness? Righteousness is nothing. It's very simple. It's nothing. Behavior that is beneficial to you as an individual. Behavior that is beneficial to the society. There's nothing righteous about getting drunk. It's not good for you. It's not good for society. There are many people getting killed by drunk drivers and people getting beat up because I was drunk, and so that's not good for society. And remember back in the day when you saw a Muslim, that Muslim had that shine. Them Muslims look different because they were striving, they were trying to be righteous. And righteousness, even in the eyes of wicked folks, that look good. So evil don't look good anymore. If there were a good group, mass of us truly being righteous, we would begin the process to overthrow the government and destroy this reality of evil and wickedness. And this is coming from somebody that don't acknowledge God. But righteousness, doing that which is beneficial to yourself, has nothing to do with religion. It's simple as that. But because of your love for evil, you might as well stay right here. Nothing is going to change until you become dissatisfied. But right now, nothing is changing because the reality is there's something about all this stuff that you love. With that said, I'm out of here. Think about it. Righteousness. The preachers is right. They just won't do right. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.